In the 1960s, life for many black families in America was shaped by tight budgets, long work hours, and a constant effort to make every penny count. Yet inside those modest kitchens, mothers created meals that carried more love and comfort than anything money could buy. These dishes weren't expensive or elaborate. They were simple foods, born from resourcefulness, that became unforgettable memories for the children who grew up with them. Today, we're looking back at 5 of those dishes. 5 meals black mothers made in the 1960s, so cheap and so humble, yet so loved that kids begged for them again and again. 1. Fried Bologna Sandwich. A fried Bologna sandwich wasn't just a quick meal, it was a small event in the kitchen. A mother would place a thick round of bologna into a warm skillet, and the moment it touched the pan, the familiar sizzle filled the room. She'd cut a small slit along the edge so it wouldn't bubble up, pressing it gently as it browned and crisped. The smell drifted through the house, and children knew exactly what was coming long before anything touched a plate. The bologna went on soft white bread, sometimes with mustard, sometimes with cheese, sometimes plain, because it didn't need much to taste good. In a time when money didn't stretch far, this simple sandwich felt surprisingly rich. For many kids who grew up in the 1960s, that sound of bologna frying wasn't just cooking. It was a moment of comfort, a sign that, no matter how hard life was outside, something warm and familiar was waiting for them at home. 2. Navy beans with ham hock. Navy beans simmering on the stovetop brought a different kind of comfort. Beans were cheap, reliable, and filling, everything a stretched budget needed. Mothers added a ham hock not because it was luxurious, but because it was one of the few cuts they could afford. As the pot simmered for hours, the smoky flavor seeped into the beans, turning a handful of ingredients into a full, hearty meal. The aroma filled every corner of the home, and by evening the beans had thickened into a creamy stew that felt far more generous than its cost. Served with a slice of cornbread, sometimes fresh, sometimes leftover, it became one of those meals that anchored the family around the table. Kids didn't think of it as a poor meal. To them, it was warm, reliable, and deeply satisfying. 3. Syrup sandwiches. When times were especially tight and snacks were a luxury, mothers made syrup sandwiches, one of the simplest pleasures of the era. A couple slices of soft white bread, a thin spread of butter, and a drizzle of syrup across the center. It wasn't fancy, and it certainly wasn't store-bought, but it felt like a treat meant only for the kids. The syrup soaked into the bread, creating a soft sweetness that felt almost indulgent in a household where nothing was wasted. Children loved the taste, but they also loved the feeling that came with it, a moment of sweetness in a world that often demanded toughness. To this day, many adults look back on syrup sandwiches with a quiet nostalgia, remembering how something so small could mean so much. 4. Rice and gravy. Rice and gravy was the kind of dish that quietly appeared on dinner tables several nights a week. A pot of rice simmered on the stove while gravy was made from whatever drippings were available, chicken, pork chop, or sometimes just onions cooked slowly until they turned soft and golden. It wasn't complicated, and that was the point. When the warm gravy soaked into the rice, the meal became filling, comforting, and perfect for feeding several children without straining the budget. It was a dish that represented stability in uncertain times. Even when money was scarce, a mother could still bring everyone together with something warm, simple, and satisfying. 5. Cornbread and milk. Cornbread and milk was one of the most modest dishes of the period, yet it remained one of the most loved. Leftover cornbread was broken into a bowl and covered with cold milk or buttermilk. Some kids added a sprinkle of sugar, while others enjoyed it plain. On hot southern days, this cool, soft mixture felt refreshing and filled hungry stomachs quickly. It wasn't meant to impress anyone, and it didn't need to. For many children, this dish became a quiet memory of comfort, a moment where the simplest ingredients offered a feeling of peace and fullness that stayed with them long into adulthood. These dishes, though humble and inexpensive, shaped the childhoods of countless black families during the 1960s. They were born from necessity but remembered with warmth, because they carried the creativity and care of mothers who made the most out of what they had. And for the people who grew up with these meals, the flavor of each dish remains tied to a time, a place, and the love that held their family together.